Well, it's just gone 3 o'clock Central African time. This is BTV News. We're broadcasting live from the nation's capital. I'm Ulibile Samoka. Top what the post is interpreting in sign language. Now, let's take a look at stories making headlines. The Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area launches its new tourism destination brand ahead of the Kaza Heads of State Summit. Ministry of Defense launches a new strategy for procurement of goods and services. Well, now in sport, Lizzie Teboho motivated by winning 2 USEC Regional Annual Sports Awards. Welcome and thank you for joining us. Now, in our first story, Acting President Mr. Slamba Sohwane has left for the Zambezi Kaza Transfrontier Conservation Area Heads of State Summit hosted in Livingstone, Zambia. The Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area yesterday launched a new tourism destination brand, Zambezi Rivers of Life, ahead of the Kaza Heads of State Summit to be held on Friday in Livingstone, Zambia. Botswana is keen on ensuring that natural resources benefit communities in the Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area. Well, we'd like to apologize for that clip without a sound. Now, moving on, the Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area launched the new brand, Rivers of Life, on Wednesday ahead of the Kaza Heads of State Summit. The unveiling of the new brand is a milestone for the 5 partner countries' aspiration to establish a global competitive tourism destination in the river basin of the Zambezi river region. Dr. Matlabapiri reports.
Over 200 stakeholders worked on defining and designing the Zambezi Rivers of Life brand, with stakeholders from government representatives, conservation experts, tourism operators, and local community leaders across all 5 partner countries. This inclusive approach is a true reflection of shared values and aspirations towards promoting global competitiveness in areas of conservation and sustainable tourism. To further solidify their commitment to elevating Kaza region as a destination of choice to the world, these 5 partner countries signed a treaty in that regard.
Zambezi, this is a new brand. It's a new way of marketing this landscape, otherwise known as Kaza Transfrontier Conservation Area. So as Zambezi, this is the brand that the partner states have come up with the brand identity as part of their marketing. And we've had to do this work over the last 18 months. This work was led by the national tourism organizations. So this pledge basically means that your Botswana tourism organization work, for example, is actually going to co-brand with the Zambezi brand. The same in Angola, the same in Namibia, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, basically marketing the Zambezi destination as a single tourism destination, globally and domestically.
Minister from Kaza member states commended all stakeholders involved in the development of the new brand for living up to their mandate of extensive consultation, collaboration, and inclusivity.
So what we are doing, what we are starting here, what we are launching here, is a combination in a way of advertise our common zone. That's why we consider this action very important in the next steps of our conservative area of.
We would like to encourage and to say to you that, you know, this must be shown by each and every agency, be it government or private, to ensure that the Kaza brand is well known worldwide and can bring the needed development in terms of our tourism in this region.
The world has to have a brand, it's a destination, and that is what we just said years before, and also we've experienced it. They still have to come back just because of that brand now, that trademark.
And what has been birthed here is something that will be taken over for many years to come. And what I saw from the presentation that we had, the first time that the Secretary at the head, through you and everybody else, in my honest opinion, was being bold and being daring.
Let's love our nations. Let's take this gem that's called Kavango Zambezi to the world, and the world to this gem.
Furthermore, as the Kaza TFCA embarks on this new chapter, the organization remains committed to its core values of conservation, cooperation, and community empowerment. Tlotlam Matlabapiri, BTV News, Livingstone, Zambia.
The First Lady, Ms. Nomasisi, has officially launched a booklet of stories told by 20 youth lead advocates entitled Changemaker Stories of Hope. Ms. Masisi emphasized the need for authenticity amongst the youth. They were urged to tell their stories with an intention to give hope to youth impacted by HIV and AIDS. She further encouraged them to reach deep into their hearts, as doing so will help them continue touching the lives of other young people. Pelsoha.
Overwhelmed by emotions, authors of the Changemakers Stories of Hope booklet, Warona George and her co-author Sekabo Sesalamarumo, narrate their experiences of their long hours of transcribing stories from the 20 youth-led advocates. Through tears and mixed emotions, they managed to come up with an amazing product intended not only to give youth impacted by HIV/AIDS hope, but also help build the nation as the youth are leaders now and in future.
This is what happened the whole time I was recording these stories, listening to people's voice notes or the phone calls, transcribing, which took hours, but I was just a ball of tears because it really is a nice experience to be able to be part of something that you get the chance to actually reflect on.
When it comes to collecting the stories, I was using voice notes, so the young people were using voice notes to send to the responses, and some they tried typing, but then I realized that free typing, they're not expressing themselves really, so I was like, no, please take your time and do a voice note, or we can do a phone call.
The First Lady said, carrying the banner of authenticity when telling your story is the new motto. She, on that note, encouraged them to introspect, as that will help them continue touching the lives of other young people.
I've read some of these moving stories reflecting bravery, building others, stories of hope, destinies reached, and a desire to make positive change, and of course, resilience. I encourage all of you to continue sharing these stories and reach out to your peers to also share their stories that shed lessons. And everyone's story is different. And if you tell those stories, you can't bring anything out but being authentic. If you took authentic you seriously, you would go much, much further.
Meanwhile, Botswana has been waging a valiant war against HIV/AIDS. The country director of UNAIDS, Mr. Alanka Malviam, says to be careful not to drop the ball.
Botswana has brilliant achievements, and we are almost at the top in terms of epidemic control. But at top, there is a lot of effort needed to retain and sustain those gains. To ring fence those gains is not easy because we are almost there. At 95, 98, 98, the chance of walking last mile is high, but it will take many times more efforts. But the probability of dropping the ball is also equally high because you can't always claim to be 95, 98, 90.
Led Youth-led Foundation, operating through Prince Harry co-founded charity Sentevalem, has been an answered prayer for many young people who have been struggling to come to terms with their realities of being impacted by HIV/AIDS. Pearl Zohang, BTV News, Gaborone.
The Ministry of Defence and Security held a workshop that included all ministry stakeholders, being the Botswana Police Service, Botswana Defence Force, as well as Botswana Prison Services, to share new strategies to be used in procurement of goods and services for those organizations, hence the need to be more vigilant in awarding tenders. The Minister of Defence and Security, Mr. Kagiso Musi, revealed that when officially opening the 3-day workshop, Kumiso Mapanyani compiled this one.
The public procurement is done with public funds. However, awarding tenders to those organizations should be done with utmost fairness and transparency. Minister Musi said the Ministry's 2024-2025 procurement budget should focus more on awarding tenders to locally owned companies to provide such services in order to empower the locals.
Public procurement is a fundamental and crucial component of good governance, poverty reduction, and it helps to stimulate the economy. These intentions might not be achieved if we fail to recognize the many challenges in public procurement that need to be addressed. In addressing the challenges, we open up our opportunities to embrace best practices, streamline procedures, and ensure efficient and excellence in service delivery. This will enable us to achieve value for money and build public trust in our procurement system, which will greatly contribute to the ministry mindset change roadmap. Our service delivery must be prompt, reliable, and of high quality. In doing so, we will be able to manage ministry procurement with integrity and ethical conduct at all times.
Judge President Public Procurement Tribunal Mr. Kabelo Lobotsa highlighted some challenges that hindered the process of procurement.
Bagacho, you don't award a tender and just take it away from a person. This is what is happening all the time. They award a tender, there will be a complaint, and what do? The PE does not have any reference to the bidder. He will receive a letter saying, following complaints, we decided to withdraw the tender. And of course, there is what you call the rule of natural justice. But here the other side, give the person the benefit of the doubt. In other words, if after hearing or receiving and hearing complaints, it is quite likely that this might cause you to change your decision. The law requires that you should give that person an opportunity to make representations.
Minister Musi says his ministry aims at changing people's livelihoods by supporting them through procurement of tenders awarded to his ministry. Kumiso Mapanyani, BTV News, Kaburu.
You're watching BTV News. Thank you for staying with us. Now, moving on, the communication lead at Mindset Change Secretariat, Ms. Tatontite, says becoming successful in life despite coming from a disadvantaged background is possible with the right mindset and perseverance. During a Mindset Change workshop with Omaweneno and Maraleleng residents in Kgalagadi, Ms. Ntite challenged residents to start small businesses since government has initiatives that can support their ideas like the recently launched Chema.
Ms. Ntite said since it's a challenge to find good paying jobs in rural areas, the best way is to start small businesses that will help them break the cycle of poverty and in turn boost the rural economy. She said the government has great business initiatives designed to improve the lives of rural dwellers and reduce rural-urban migration.
Le bo maralelenyana ga o ya kwa ko bora vaste kwa gwa tere go tenyana teng a re change nele ka go supa gore
you don't necessarily have to live in town to be successful. With the right mindset, you can be successful even in remote areas.
Mindset dikakanyo tsa kgolo o ka kgona go dira sepehela se o batlang go se dira.
Residents embraced the mindset change ideology. It's about time we change our thoughts. It's the only way we can move this country forward. Sometimes being superstitious can stop you from achieving your goals. I believe the mindset change message can be impactful if it can be taught to school children so they can grow up with the right mentality. Residents were encouraged to take advantage of the vegetable ban and use their farms to grow vegetables and sell to the community and supermarkets. They were also encouraged to support small local businesses instead of traveling to towns to spend their money. BTV News, Omaweneno and Maralaleng.
Preparations to commemorate the World No Tobacco Day, which has been set aside by the World Health Organization to raise awareness about the dangers of tobacco usage, are going on well. The convener of the publicity committee responsible for organizing the event, Ms. Dikeledi Khositsile, says World No Tobacco Day is an opportunity for individuals to introspect and consider ending tobacco use. The commemoration will be held this Friday in Jwaneng. Emmanuel Rapoa reports.
The tobacco industry is steadfast and determined to consistently improve their products to lure and be more appealing to users, while non-users are also not spared by robust advertising. Therefore, this poses a threat to the younger generation, who can easily fall into the trap of tobacco usage, hence affecting their future prospects, as tobacco products are pricey and eventually leads to ill health.
Peer pressure is based on our age mates, our friends, and it's easy for us to get influenced as we feel we just want to fit in. And this relates to tobacco because as a group of age mates, we normally like to do something we call being fashionable.
Like if we see a famous influencer or TikToker doing things like indulging in drugs or tobacco, we see it as a green flag to doing it.
We organized a panel discussion to unpack the dangers of tobacco use and how best to keep our younger generation from tobacco smoking. Although some derive their sustenance from the proceeds of tobacco sales, however, what is unsettling is diseases that are caused by tobacco use, which could otherwise be easily prevented by not smoking or sniffing tobacco.
Parliament ne ya hitisa molao o bidiwang go Tobacco Control Act ka 2021 o ileng gore ona.
We believe the new Tobacco Control Act will help in protecting the youthful generation under the ages of 21 to sell, buy, nor smoke tobacco.
There is a high rate of youth, of adolescents, of children who are intaking tobacco, drugs, and whatnot, and they're destroying their future.
We as a country are struggling with the youth indulging themselves in such an industry. So what we're trying to do today is to try and find and come up with ways to prevent the high rising numbers of youth participants in this industry.
Multitudes of people continue to be affected by the adverse effects of tobacco smoking, as about 8 million people die annually due to tobacco usage. Emmanuel Rapua, BTV News, Jwaneng.
Now, 6 staff houses for Botswana Prison Service member at village in Gaborone will be refurbished to improve their conditions and make them more habitable to the prison officers. Speaking at the event to mark the commencement of the work on Tuesday, the Minister of Defense and Security, Mr. Kagiso Musi, said it has always been his desire to see the prison staff living in a conducive environment. Terima Khweng with the details.
The refurbishment of prisons houses in Gaborone was last done in 2021 and 2022, and this one is the third batch with the aim to improve the staff house conditions. These projects do not only benefit the staff, but also the inmates as they are engaged in the work that equips them with skills that they will use in the future.
So sengwe se ke neng ka se ipapile ke gore ke eletsa gore bodiredi ja rona ja disciplined forces bonne mo borokong ampo bonne mo matlong a ba kanyentsweng.
One thing that was my priority was that our staff should be in good conditioned houses, which can make them more effective. In 2021, we did this again with 6 houses, and I was happy that they were completed on time.
That 2021, nere retiruentseng jana for matwa mangwalo na ali 6. Mme ka leboga thata go bona a setse a kgonne go rahele ene bila dirule ka nako le ka budget e ne e beilwe.
A number of houses were awarded the officers beginning of the year, regardless of their rank, as a way to decongest officers in the houses.
Just recently, on the 26th of January 2024, we are witnessing the official handover of 14 housing units to the prison service. And this is a clear indication of the seriousness at which the minister and the department values the welfare of staff members of the Botswana prison service.
The officers were encouraged to take care of the houses as their own, as that would help in reducing the costs of maintenance. Terry Makoeng, BTV News, Gaborone.
Well, that is the news. This about to stay with us and Tebogang Sebetlela on standby to take you through the world of sport.
Thank you very much, Ulibile Samoga. Now in context, the sports news follows with me, Tebogang Sebetlela. Sprint sensation Lizile Tebogo says winning 2 awards at the OSEC Regional Annual Sport Awards at Rasa, held in Zambia recently, motivates him as he prepares for Paris Olympics 2024. Tebogo won the Sport Person of the Year and Junior Sportsman of the Year award. Sokolame Buying.
Tebogo was officially handed the awards by the Minister of Youth, Gender, Sports and Culture, Timsorakare, on Wednesday, as he could not attend the African Union Sports Council Regional Annual Sport Awards, Rasa, due to the funeral of his mother.
I'd say it's a big motivation to keep on going and to keep on working as the year progresses, you know, because every athlete wants to be known, wants to be out there doing what he knows or she knows best. So it's a great motivation for me, myself, and for the team, you know, because we are in this together and we want to see each other go far.
Furthermore, world double medalists encouraged upcoming athletes to take sports seriously as it can create opportunities for personal growth and development.
It's difficult because I think the standard is too high now, but they shouldn't put themselves under pressure. They should just do it at their own pace, because the moment they try to be me is the moment they start to have too much pressure. So now, if they can't do it, then it means they're starting to doubt the process, you know, and they will end up giving up along the way, but it's a very long journey.
The 2 Rasa Awards came a week after Lisilo won the Sportsman of the Year and the most prestigious award, Sportsperson of the Year, at the Botswana Sports Awards ceremony. He won silver and bronze medals in 100 meter and 200 meter respectively at last year's World Athletics Championships. This coming weekend, Lisilo will continue with his quest to accumulate more points for WADA Diamond League, scheduled for 13th to 14th in Brussels, as he will be competing in Stockholm Grand Prix. Recently, Lisile finished second at the Los Angeles Grand Prix in America with a time of 10.13 seconds. Sokolami, Buying, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
Meanwhile, Minister of Youth, Gender, Sport and Culture, Mr. Timsorakare, presented Karabo Motlanga with Public Athlete of the Year award after being voted by the public as the Sport Person for the Year 2023. Motlanga, who has been a captain of the senior national men's cricket team for a decade now, was competing for the award against 15 athletes, amongst them Colin Gibina Tsipi, Lizile Tebogo Ross Branch Women's Lawn Bowls national team, and junior men's 4x400 meters athletics relay team. The Public Athlete of the Year award was withheld as the Botswana Sports Awards Organizing Committee was still verifying votes. Sokolame Buying.
I'm very honored to be gifted this award. I think it makes me feel immensely proud. Playing for Botswana, you know, I've done it for a long time, and this is the first time maybe I've gotten something from home that shows that I've been on the right track. I'd like to thank God first of all. I'd like to thank my family for always supporting me. The people who voted, of course, my friends, my family, everyone who voted. Yes, coming from a sport that is not very popular to win this award, I think it's quite a big achievement, and it shows the kind of support that I've had throughout my career, and not just since the nomination, but throughout my career. So yes, I'm feeling very happy today.
The Minister of Youth, Gender, Sport and Culture, Mr. Tumisora Kari, has announced the annually appointed Benesi Board Committee, which comprises of 10 members. The new committee is tasked to spearhead the association for the next 3 to 4 years. Tapelo Banda.
The newly appointed board comprises of Maruma Murule, who continues as the chairman. Tebogo Lebotse Sebero takes the vice chairperson position. Other board members include the BNOC chairman, Kenel Botzan Tsinyero, Tebogo Tsinyo from Pasobo, Kienise Katisenga Tizani from Wasbo, Katlolo Misimanagape from Botswana Softball Association, Lopampule from the local government, Maneke Maplanka from Botswana Fencing Association, Tsepo Muputing of MISAC, and Steve Botasite from Ministry of Education. Rakhere pointed out that the committee was elected to continue and accomplish the mandate that they had set in the previous years.
In 2019, when I decided to appoint Remurule as chair and bring in Metabo Holebote Sebeho as an expert, was sport. In a logore, Mutiru Nyames as Mehadi Kamana Konye Hitili.
I have long wanted to have both our chairman and chairperson fulfill their wish to take sport to greater heights. I'm very sure that your board will show their commitment and dedication to local sport.
Is to lead.
According to the chairperson, his board is fully committed to deliver while acknowledging and recognizing the minister's efforts of bringing about more and new strategies to improve the local sport.
Having taken this initiative, having actually from your own ministry and to you and PS to give the DPS to serve in the board, to us is a very clear statement what you are expecting from us. By extension to other ministries, education and skills development, local government and rural development, I hope I'm getting it right. This, to us, is a very big statement. If we fail, we would have, because we didn't try, but we will try the best we can.
Nako ya gompieko re tla bena le komite e tebagantseng le sport science go leka go netefatsa gore ga re tsa le go morago ka tsa boitseanape go netefatsa gore bana ba rona e re bana le talente le gore modimo ba e file le rona be le gore re ba tlisetsa baitseanape ba le gore ba tla ba thusa gore ba ka dira yang gore ba kgone go fenya.
The minister has assigned the new board to continue building on the legacy that Botswana has been thriving on in recent years, highlighting that his ministry will provide the necessary resources and support to fulfill the board's mandate. Tapelo Panda, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
From In Context, the sports desk, that was all we had for you this hour. Until we meet again later in the day with our Stunner Bulletin for now. Thank you for staying with us and good afternoon.
So we specifically wanted to have a workshop here because we thought younger generations being trained in culinary arts will represent the future, and the biggest purpose of this week is to promote Turkish